Crowds in Houdini, what more do I need to say? It's fun, and I would say it's relatively easy to set up. By the end of basic concept number 2, you'll be able to create a large scene with agents running all over the place. So let's give it a try. Basic concept number 1, crowds, simple setup. Let's start off with the geometry node. Let's drop down a crowd source. So this will lay down some default crowd agents for us into our scene. Now we're going to start with something very, very simple for the basic concept number 1. So we're just going to use the default crowd agents that Houdini gives us. Next, we're going to drop down a .NET node and set up our crowd simulation and get everything set up first before we dig into how to randomize the headings and randomize the velocity. So every crowd agent, like any other simulation, needs a crowd object, and we also need a crowd solver. So let's hook this all up. Now let's select the crowd object. Now in order to get our crowd agents into the .NET, I'm going to come over to the crowd object into the crowd tab, and you'll see here for initial geometry, come over here and select first context geometry. Select that. It's based on that first input, whatever is hooked up into this first input. Right now there's nothing in here. But if I take our crowd agents, and I'm going to feed it into the .NET, so I'm going to put the render flag on the .NET first, and then take this, hook it up here, and our default crowd agents are fed into the crowd simulation. That's what this first context geometry is all about, which input geometry. So there's second, third, fourth. The SOP is you can specify a very specific object, so it doesn't have to be hooked up to the .NET, but we're going to stick with first context geometry. I'll give you a quick demo of the SOP option. I'm going to specify it from here. And that would be this crowd source over here. That's our crowd source geometry node with our default crowd agents. Then our default crowd agents are still fed into the crowd simulation. So I'm going to stick with first context though. Now let's just run it just to see if everything is working. Okay, we have a working crowd simulation, a very basic one, but it is working. Now let's take a look at this warning. Now it says here that values of the state point attribute do not match any known state walk. That's because we don't have any crowd state in here. There's no animation, there's no walking animation or anything. But that's okay. That's all right for basic concept number 1. Now let's come back up here first. I'm going to put in a DOP import. So .NET sets up your simulation, but you need a way to get the simulation data out of the .NET and into the geometry context. Otherwise, you can't use it. So let's drop down a DOP import. And that's what the DOP import does. It extracts simulation data and brings it into the SOP geometry. You can render it. You cannot always render the .NET, but you can always render the DOP import. The .NET comes in as a funny simulation data. So if you look over here into the geometry spreadsheet of the .NET, so we have this selected, and this isn't our usual geometry spreadsheet. Like this looks completely different. We have menus here. We have collapsible menus here. So we actually see the simulation data instead. I mean, you can still see the usual geometry here. So this is something we're more familiar with. But everything coming out of the .NET is still simulation data and not very useful to us in the SOP context. Later on in the series, we'll get into more complex setups where we feed the crowd simulation into another different simulation to create more advanced effects. For example, your crowd agents may be wearing clothing, and we can feed a crowd simulation into a vellum simulation that can create realistic clothing effects on top of the crowds. But for now, let's go back to what we started off with and finish it up. How do we actually render this, and how do we actually get it in the way that we want? That's where the DOP import comes in. Highlight this and set this up. Drag the .NET into the .network parameter so the .NET will know which simulation data to extract. Okay, the next thing we want is the objects. What objects from the crowd sim are we trying to extract out? This refers to the crowd object in the simulation data. Now we have this nice little drop down here, and it'll give you crowd object 1 because that's the only one that was ever created. Yeah, or you can just stick with the asterisk. But let's go more technical. Now let's go into the .NET, and I want to show you. That's this guy over here. This crowd object. this is being extracted out. This is where instantiates the crowd agents in the simulation. So this represents all the crowd agents. So that's what we're trying to render. And it makes sense to extract this object into this geometry context using the DOP import. Hopefully that makes sense. Crowd agents are created as packed primitives and need to be unpacked in order to expose all the polygons if you ever wanted to manipulate it even further. Be aware that if you run the crowd sim with unpacked data, it will run slower compared to running fresh out of the box DOP import, which should be packed primitives. Whatever Houdini is doing under the hood with optimizations with the packed primitives, it's amazing. You have to put the render flag on the .net over here. And also the random value. Let's input a different random value. Instead of having 1, 1, so it's not really randomizing anything. So no matter what we do, what values we put, it's not working. It's not changing the direction of our agents. So they're all looking towards the same direction. Houdini's not randomizing our initial direction. So why is that? This got me so confused it's because we have an initial velocity. So let's clear all these highlights. Go back to the setup and let's look at this. There's actual value here. So the initial velocity is pointing all the agents towards the positive z direction, which is what we're seeing in the viewport. The initial velocity overrides the initial heading. In order to randomize the heading or the direction, we actually have to zero out the initial velocity. So this got me so confused at the beginning. So if we put 0 here, our agents are now more randomized. They're not all facing in the same direction. And another thing is that if you have the render flag on the crowd source, you're not going to see your random direction, which is super confusing. You have to put the render flag on the .net. And that's when you actually see everything, all your randomness. Let's put the render flag on the crowd source just for a second. I want to show you the geometry spreadsheet. So it is generating some random initial heading values. Now, if I were to put the exact same random value for the X and Z, so I'm just going to put 1 here and put 1 here, and Z values are exactly the same. So let's put the render flag on the .net so we actually see the random directions. Now, you can see that they're all facing in the same direction. All these guys are all facing in the same direction. The reason behind this is I suspect Houdini is using the same seed value for the X and the Z, and what they're doing is just multiplying that seed value to the X value and the Z value. So you're gonna get the exact same random direction for the X and Z, which results in everyone going in the same direction. In order to avoid this, in order to get something more random, you'll need a different X value for the randomness and the Z value. So let's put -1 here, and instantly you're gonna see a difference in the geometry spreadsheet. And you can see in the viewport we have a bit more variety. This is one of the reasons why I don't really use this way of randomizing the heading. It's just that there's so many things that have to be you need in order to get this working. And even if you have this GUI working with all the right conditions, even if you have all that correctly done, it's still not gonna do what you expect. Because let's run the simulation. They're not moving. Why is that? Because the initial velocity was zeroed out in order to get the heading to work. Zero velocity means nothing is going to move. When you're randomizing the initial heading of the crowd source, try to keep those in mind. Randomizing heading in the crowd source that often, because it's probably easier to randomize. So let's turn this off. So let's turn off the randomized heading, and instead, let's go over the initial randomized initial velocity instead. So let's put this on. Now this would probably be more useful because they'll start in the walking direction. This will make it move at the beginning and start face in the right direction as well. So this is probably more useful. So let's try this out. Let's put a 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. It's still using the same thing. It's still doing the same thing with the random seed. So it's applying the same random seed value to the X and Z. Put something else, go -1, and that we have instantly more variety. Now let's run. You can see that the agents started facing in different directions and are moving in different directions as well. This is the difference between initial velocity and the initial heading. Thanks for watching and sticking to the end.